Former President Trump back in court in a New York City courtroom today, but will not deliver part of his own closing argument in the civil fraud trial. There were reports Trump had planned a summation, but the judge denied that request. In a $370 million lawsuit, Attorney General Tish James accuses Trump, his sons, and business executives of overstating his net worth by billions of dollars to get more favorable loans and insurance terms. So what can we expect in court today? Joining us now, Gregory Germain, professor of law at Syracuse University, who specializes in business law. Professor, thanks so much for taking a few moments. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be here.
So let's quickly, because we hear a lot without going into too much detail. People have heard, well, wait a second, Trump wanted to give a summation and the judge said no. There were rules in place and this was not one of them. Is that correct, in lack of a better term?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's very unusual for a party to request to give part of their own closing argument. I mean, the reason you have attorneys is to have your attorney give your closing argument. So it was a very unusual request. The judge actually said he'd allow it, but he was going to limit what Trump could say to the issues that are appropriate for a closing argument, which is arguing what the facts are in the case that support your position. And he wouldn't allow any political speeches, and Trump did not accept that offer. And so he will not be giving any argument today in the case.
And that was the crux of it, the judge feeling that this was going to turn into just a big political stump speech rather than something that is germane to the actual trial. So what are you expecting today? As you sit where you're sitting right now, having seen what's transpired here the last couple of months, they've been on hiatus. What are you expecting for today?
Not much. I think that what happens in closing arguments is each of the parties' lawyers will get up and summarize the facts that are in evidence that support their positions and how they want the case to come out. And this is, this case was really decided mostly on summary judgment before the trial started. And so the only real question that remains is how much money is the judge going to award to the state. And so that's an open issue, but the main rulings have already been made. Trump's business license is revoked. They're going to appoint a receiver to liquidate all of his properties, and he's out of business unless the appellate court overturns that decision.
The judge has indicated that he'd like to see a verdict by the end of the month. Given what you've just said there, the evidence that has been presented, you think that's possible?
Oh yeah, my guess is the judge has been working on his opinion already. May already be drafted for all we know. Sure, I think he can get it done by the end of the month, maybe sooner than that. It's not technically a verdict. A verdict is what a jury renders, and this is a judge trial, so it's just a decision. Yeah, I'm sure he'll get it done by the end of the month, and I'm sure he's going to do a very thorough job of stating his findings and conclusions of law to make it as difficult as possible for Trump to win an appeal. But there are still some major legal issues that are going to be considered on appeal that are not frivolous in this case. So it'll be interesting to see how this ultimately comes out.
You hear of these countless court cases and these countless court appearances for the former president, the 91 and the charges and things of that nature. But everybody seems, you know what, no matter what he's accused of, it doesn't matter. He just kind of keeps on going and the stump speeches and is the GOP frontrunner. Something like this, which touches at the heart of Trump, his business acumen, with a case like this that's going to hit his business, not being able to do business in the state of New York anymore, where he grew up, being fined these hundreds of millions of dollars. In the overarching, all of these court cases, where do you think this one ranks as far as what kind of damage it will do to Trump himself?
Well, if it's upheld on appeal, I mean, the Court of Appeals has already stayed the summary judgment decision. And so until it's decided on appeal, it's just going to be a pending matter. But if ultimately what the judge has already ruled is affirmed on appeal, his business is completely destroyed, and he's not going to be able to survive it as an economic entity. So it would be absolutely devastating if it is affirmed on appeal. But until the appeal's decided, it's business as usual. I mean, he's going to go on doing what he's doing, and it's not going to really have any effect on him because all of it has been stayed pending appeal.
Got it. Professor, thank you so much. We appreciate your help spelling it out for us. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back here on CBS News New York.